Hey friends, it's Heather from Staying Scrappy, and I'm back with another process video. I got a ton of garden shop goodies for Christmas this year, and I'm using them up slowly but surely. So this layout was going to start with this beautiful button paper from Garden Shop by Paige Evans. And I had a wild idea that involves fussy cutting every single button. So it took a good amount of time, but I did that, and now I'm sorting them into color on a white background. I know that I don't want to use a colored background because I'm going to have a rainbow of buttons going on, and a colored background would just be too much. So I'm sorting them into rainbow order, and in just a minute here you will see the final design. So this is what I was picturing in my head. The crazy idea I had for all these buttons is to make them thicker at the top and then more sparse at the bottom. So now I'm gluing all them down. It took forever, but it was worth it. And my photos are going to come up in a minute here. I was debating between two ideas. One was these black and white photos that go across the entire page, and the other was that single photo of me and my mother-in-law on a night out. And I ultimately decided to go with the three photos because I love how they fill the whole top of the page just like the buttons fill the whole top of the page. But I don't want to cover up all those buttons that I fussy cut. So I'm going to extend the paper, make it a little longer by putting another paper behind my photos and mounting it that way so that I can sort of extend the page and make it longer. I was going to use this plaid paper, but I don't love kind of the craziness of the rainbow colors. I want something that matches a little better. And this paper with the wood grain was perfect. And look at how well those colors match up. Oh, I was so pleased, so happy with how that worked out. And this will allow me to extend the page and not cover up those buttons. So now I'm coming in with some white tissue paper behind my photos. This is how I usually mat them, just because it's a subtle little border, messy but cute, and it's nothing special. It is a dollar store tissue paper like you'd put in a gift box or a gift basket. And I thought about matting them with white as well. In a minute you'll see me try it out. I really thought I was going to do it. I'll even come in with some adhesive and stick that paper down on some white, but I end up taking it off later. I just much prefer how you can see the colors of the wood grain through the tissue paper, and the white border just took away from that. I couldn't see the colors through the white like I could through the tissue paper. So I'm going to go ahead and trim it to size using my paper trimmer there. And then I'll look at it, decide I don't like it, take off the white, and stick with just the tissue paper. So here I am thinking, and it's going to go. No to the white. I'm going to keep it simple this time. So I'm going to start adhering my photos down, and then I'm going to change my mind again and decide to put some foam behind them just to give them a little dimension. And especially since I'm not using the white border, I feel like I need something to really make the photos stand out on the page. And that's where this kids foam comes in. It'll just raise up the pictures a little bit, give some of that ever so important dimension that scrappers are always talking about. And I think this will work really well to just pop up those photos. So one more picture left, that foam, and I'm using Barely Art glue. I love the fine tip on that bottle. It works great. You can get it on Amazon, so go check out that glue. It's a game changer. And here I'm coming in, going to combine my two papers. But first, I need to actually glue my photos down. I forgot I hadn't done that yet. So again, coming in with that Barely Art glue with that really fine tip, gluing down those photos so they stay in place permanently with that liquid glue. And I also need to trim off the top of the page because I don't need that much space above the photos. So I'm going to come back in with my paper trimmer and leave just a teeny tiny border of that colored paper above the photos. And I will save the rest of that paper for later. I could use 10 sheets of it. It's so beautiful. I've got another layout coming up. I might not have a process video for it because it's already halfway done and I didn't film the first half. But I do have another project with this paper, so keep an eye out for that. I'm about ready to glue it down. I'm just going to glue... Oh, nope, I'm not. First I got to trim off those extra edges. So there's some buttons that come off the page a little bit, so I'm just trimming those edges. And now I'm going to glue them together. Just a little bit of glue. Again, I'm using that liquid glue so it stays in place permanently. Just along the bottom edge of that paper, and I'm going to stick it to the top edge of my button paper. And of course, this leaves me with the problem of having a paper that's bigger than 12 by 12, which won't fit in a photo album or a page protector. So now I need to trim off the bottom to bring it back down to 12 by 12 size. And I love this paper trimmer because I can measure up to 12 inches. I think it goes up to 15 inches actually, but I'm measuring it at 12 inches, double checking just to make sure it's not too short, and trimming it down to size. And one of the buttons got cut off, but that's okay. It just kind of looks like it's falling off the page. And next is embellishments. And like I said, I got a ton of garden shop goodies. And so I'm going to come in with some of, well, all of them. Got a huge stack of stuff that I'm going to come in with, and starting with the floral ephemera. I thought it would be fun having florals peeking out the bottom of the page, and I started off with this daisy and this leaf sprig. And then I realized I could keep the tone-on-tone theme going and use tone-on-tone flowers as embellishments peeking out through the bottom. And I thought I was going to use that big leaf sprig, but it's going to go away eventually. I decided it was too big. But that pink flower is going to stay. But I'm struggling to get it wedged in there, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half. You won't see the bottom half anyway, so I might as well just trim it, make it a little easier to tuck in there. And clearly I'm struggling anyway, but I do get it in there eventually. And next I'm coming in with that sort of peachy orange flower, a yellow flower, which is also going to get cut in half. And I love this dark green flower. It matches those middle buttons perfectly. Thought about using that bigger green leaf sprig that's the lighter green, but again, I decided it's too big and ended up trading it out for something else. And I thought about using that light peach flower, but I decided that it's too light and take it off. So I'm just playing around, auditioning different flowers, seeing what I like and what's a good size and a good color to match my theme here. That pink one is going to stay, but I'm also going to trim that one in half, and I'll keep all those lost and lonely halves for another page, for another day. I'm pinching the edges of the flowers to give them extra texture and dimension. Makes them really pop up and look a little more realistic. So this floral ephemera had a white border around it, so I'm trimming that off. But it has both yellow and green, so it fits that little piece between the yellow and the green perfectly. I ruffled up the edges of the buttons falling down to give it a little more texture, make it not so flat. And I love this garden shop paper with all the little colorful phrases. I'm going to fussy cut out several of those and place them around the page. And I'm sticking with the tone-on-tone theme, putting the pink sentiments in the pink section, green in the green. I do end up trading out that darker green for a lighter green. I like the dark green, just stood out a little too much. And next I'm coming in with my title. It's going to say Quarantine Life. These pictures were taken in April of 2020, and we'd been stuck in the house for a few weeks, and I was going crazy. I needed some fresh air so bad. And so we all packed in the car, drove out to a lake. We figured if it was outside, we could, still social distance and stay away from other people. But it was so nice to get a break from being stuck in the house and get some much needed fresh air. And I wasn't sure how to center the letters, so I put it on a piece of packaging first, just so I could see where I wanted to put it and figure out how to center this title. One of the last things that I am going to do is come in with some journaling lines with my ruler, starting out with a pencil. And I'm also going to write my journaling in pencil first, because I'm never sure if what I'm going to say is going to fit in the space that I have. So I'm going to come back over that with a gray pen and write my date. And here's the final photo. I think this layout turned out so fun. I was so excited to use Garden Shop. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay scrappy.